Hello and welcome to the 2023 Typography Awards. I'm your host Viviana, and tonight we're gonna find out the lucky winners of these amazing categories and see who's gonna take home the coveted award of Best Font of the Year. This evening is gonna be full of surprise. Okay, enough. Ciao besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Viviana and I know that 2023 is the year of committing to the bit, but not this much. So I guess it's pretty clear what we're gonna do today. In this video, we're gonna talk about fonts, which is probably one of my favorite things about design. I've been wanting to make this video for a really long time, and even though I literally just make fun of them, I love award shows. Award season is my favorite season, so I thought this would be a fun way to do this. For each category, we're gonna talk about the fonts and why I love them, and then I'm gonna pick a winner based on literally nothing other than my own personal taste. So let's start with serifs. I have a few fonts that I want to talk about. I have my laptop here, that's why I'm looking down. The first one that we're gonna talk about is Swear. This font is absolutely incredible. This is the Silati version. It's called Silati, I don't know how to say it, but this is not the regular version. The regular version is a little bit more simple, but this version here is absolutely incredible. This is the type of font that has its own personality, that you don't really need to do anything else to it because it's just so perfect on its own. I think it's so cool for logos, but even for like posters, merch, I don't know, literally anything. I think that this is available on Adobe Fonts, so if you have a subscription to the Adobe suite, you should have access also to Adobe Fonts. I think that this has like big potential to make a really good logo. I mean, I do a lot of type manipulation, but with these types of fonts, you don't really have to do much because they have so much personality on their own. It's super fun. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the capital letters, but the lowercase letters are so amazing, so cool, and this has like a lot of weight, so you can make it thicker, thinner. Okay, moving on. This is probably my favorite font of all time, and I know that it's a big claim, but I'm pretty positive about this. This font is Bestseller. Again, this is another really popular font, but I know why, because it's perfect. I don't have the words to describe how much I love this font. And it's like super simple if you look at it. It just kind of looks like a regular bold curvy font. Not really that special, but if you look at it, if you look at the letters, they're so unique, they're so cool. I've used this font many times. I think that this is one of those fonts that whatever you write is gonna look good on it. Whatever logo I'm doing, I always try this font and it always looks good. It has that power that not many fonts have. I'm of course obsessed with the letter A, but even the other letters, the uppercase letters are incredible, like the E, are you kidding me? The 0, it's so cool. The 3, oh my god, like I could literally talk about this font all day. I think that this font, even though it's pretty simple, it has like a lot of personality, and I don't know why, it kind of gives me like earthy vibes. I've used this for like organic brands, but it also gives me like a little bit of medieval typography. I don't know why, but I'm truly obsessed with it. Maybe because like 2 of my most successful projects have been made using this font, so it has brought me a lot of luck, and it's also like a really good base for type manipulation. These rounded edges and curvy lines that it has are so they're screaming type manipulation. The most insane fact about this font is that it's free for both personal and commercial use. For the entirety of this video, when I say free, I mean free for commercial use, because there are a lot of fonts that are free for personal use, but you can use them in client projects, and since we're brand designers and we do work also for clients, I don't consider free fonts that are free just for personal use. So if I say free in this video, I mean free for commercial use. Wanted to say that. So this font is free and it's insane. They came out recently with a thinner version of this font called Bestseller Moonlight, I think. I haven't had the chance to use it yet. It has just a slight difference. It's not just like a thinner version of this font. It gives me like a different vibe. It's like more elegant, more witchy, sharper, I don't know, like they give 2 different vibes, and I love that. Anyway, let's move on because this video is gonna be so long if I keep talking about this. Okay, next up we have New. It's by Creative. You're gonna see a lot more fonts from them in this video because I'm a big fan, but let's focus on this one here. You know this style that everybody's doing recently, this really thin and condensed serifs? There are a couple of fonts like 80s Comeback and perfectly 90s that are pretty popular right now. This is pretty much my alternative to them. They don't have a lot of weights, but for that style you don't really need a lot of weights. This isn't really my style, so I haven't had the chance to use this in a client project, for example, but if I have to in the future, I will immediately go to this font. Next up we have Merchant. This is another font that makes me go completely insane, because even though it kind of looks like a simple serif font, it isn't. Some of the curves that we see in this font are super unique. I don't know why. The letters are like really like rounded and kind of friendly. Sometimes serif fonts have like a tendency of being like a little serious, that's why I don't really use them, but this font is so cool. But the thing that I love the most is the uppercase letters, the letter R specifically. Even just that letter gives this entire font a completely different personality. Another insane thing about this is that this font also is free and it has so many weights. Like, this is an entire typeface and it's free. I bow to these amazing creators who put out content like this for free, because wow, people would pay a lot of money for a font like this. Let's move on to the final font of the serif category, which is Wayfinder. The reason why I chose this font is like, first of all, look at it. It's so cool. Are we seeing that ligature between the F and the I? Are you kidding me? Wow. But the reason why I'm obsessed with this font is because it's pretty much the alternative to a font that I'm absolutely in love with, which is called Roslindale. I first saw this font in The Politician, the TV show. I saw the poster for the first time and I was like, whoa, that font is so cool. I was blown away by this font, but then I looked it up and I saw how much it costs and I was like, okay, maybe not. So I went and looked for a replacement or an alternative, and Wayfinder, I think it gets pretty close to that. This is available on Adobe Fonts, I think, so it has a lot of weight, it's an entire typeface again, and I think that's close enough. Like, if you want to get that vibe, I love like the thickness of it. I love that it's condensed. As you're seeing here, there's a pattern in what I like in my fonts. I think that I loved about Roslindale was like this really like dramatic curves on the F, for example, and we have them also here. So we've come to the end of this category, and now it's time to choose a winner. For this category, I think it's pretty obvious what my winner will be, and it's, drum roll, bestseller, obviously. Like, I literally said this might be my favorite font of all time, so it was a no-brainer. So let's move on to my favorite category of fonts, which is sans serifs. This was probably the hardest choice to make, to just pick 5, because sans serif fonts are my favorite types of fonts that I use both in my personal work and client work, so you know, there was a lot of choice. And the first font is called Obviously. Now, you might recognize this font because this is my brand font. The thing that I love the most about this font is that it has so many weights. Whatever you see on my page, on my Instagram, here on YouTube, like whatever I'm writing, I'm always using this font. I always suggest to find a font like this for your brand font. If you're rebranding or if you are branding yourself for the first time, this is my biggest advice. Find a font that is versatile, so you don't have to worry about matching fonts, because with just one you will be able to do so many things and have so much fun with the type. Let's talk about the font actually. This font is available on Adobe Font. I love how rounded but also sharp it can be. Like, I love the letter P, but also like the Y, like it has that sharp edge that is super cool. I don't know, I really connected with this font. The only thing that I don't like is the number 1. The condensed version, it's probably my favorite, both in bold and in light. I think it's so cool. Next up we have Neue as Grotesque. This is another font that you can find on Adobe Fonts, and this is pretty much my alternative to Helvetica. Now, I don't have anything against Helvetica. I'm aware of the big history that Helvetica has. If you didn't know, I know that Helvetica looks like super trendy font that everybody uses, but that font was created in 1957, so many years ago, and still to this day it looks pretty modern and of the time. Like, this font is timeless. I love Helvetica, I do, but sometimes it's best not to go there, so I have this alternative called Neue as Grotesque, which is pretty similar, I would say. This is also one of the fonts that you can write anything with it and it looks so cool, even though it's very simple. Even Helvetica, super simple. One cool thing that it has that I've never seen with any other fonts, I mean, I own so many fonts and I've never seen this happen. You can literally just choose the width of the font with like a button on Adobe Illustrator. Like you don't have to choose the different weights, you can literally adjust it to your liking. What is that? Anybody knows why this happens and why it's like this? Let me know, because wow. Next up we have Thunder. This font is super cool and you're literally seeing why. This is so powerful, like so thick. It's incredible. One of those fonts that has so much personality on its own. Just seeing it like this, you're like, wow, this is a statement. This is an amazing font for like headers when you really want to highlight something. I'm a little bit uncertain about using this with logos, because as you're seeing it in this weight, it's really thick, so it can make a logo harder to read, especially from a distance. But this font has so many other weights. I've used this in a personal project. Once again, this font is free. I would love to see this like on a big t-shirt. Like, so much potential, so strong. I love this. Then we have this font here called Raffigan, I don't know, I'm gonna butcher all these names. Just looking at it now, like wow, ooh, wow, I love this font so much. I think that some fonts have just that letter that gives the whole font a personality. In this case, I think it's the G, a font that just puts you in a good mood. I don't know, this is like super friendly and fun and inviting, like gives me a good vibe just looking at it, and I love when fonts do that. This is also a good base for type manipulation. And last but not least, we have Bow. This is another font by That Creative. I told you it was gonna be back. I absolutely adore this font, and if you follow me on Instagram, you might recognize this, because this is the font that I use for the Creative Besties, my creative challenge that I used to host on Instagram, but now it's available on my website. All the briefs are free, you can find them at the first link in my description. A little plug there. Yeah, but let's talk about the font. This font has so much personality. Again, I keep saying it, but this is what attracts me to fonts that communicate something. My degree is in visual communication design. Now, I'm not bragging or anything, absolutely not, but I didn't just go to design school, I did visual communication. They always really stressed the fact that what we're doing is visually communicating something, so I love when a font can do that, even just by being what it is. I think that typography has such a strong way to communicate. We don't really see it, we rely a lot on illustrations to make us understand what we're looking at, but I think that type has so much to give, and this font here is the exact example of what I'm talking about. This font is smiling at me. This font is making me happy. Such a fun energy. Look at that A, look at that B, look at that E. I've never seen a font like this, and every time I use it, a lot of people ask me what it is. So this was the last for the sans serifs. If I have to pick one, I would have to say Obviously, because you know, it's my brand font. Like, it's my special little baby, has a special place in my heart, and then it's called Obviously. Like, I said this word a lot, so we were meant to be. The last category of the video is a category that contains fonts that I couldn't really put in any category. So this category is called Other. The first font, just looking at it now, I might tear up because I love this font so much. This font is called Freytag, and it's by Zeta Fonts, my besties. I was kindly gifted this font by them, and they gave it to me before it came out, so I didn't know what I was getting. I opened that folder and I kid you not, I almost cried when I saw it. Literal tears in my eyes. This kind of looks like a font that was made for me. So when they sent that to me, I was like, how did you know? But yeah, let's talk about the font. The version that you're seeing right now, it's the display version. I love the scripts in the G, in the C, the A. I don't know, it just kind of gives it that movement. I love the way that all the letters connect. It makes it dynamic but fun at the same way. If I had to summarize myself in a font, it would be this one. Thank you, Zeta Fonts, I love you guys. I don't know what else to say, so let's move on to the second font. This font is called Crayonet, and it's super cute. This is available on Adobe Fonts, so if you have it, again, you can use it. And I don't know, this font is super unique. I think I've never seen a font like this. I don't know, the letters are super unique, especially the uppercase letters. They remind me of like branches or like ivy. I don't know, just some sort of plant that is growing. The shapes that the letter have kind of look like thorns. I've never used this because, you know, as I said, it has like a really specific vibe, and I've never worked with a brand that has this vibe, but I cannot wait. Again, this is pretty popular, but I see people talking about it but not using it for the same reason, I think, because it has to be the right project. Another font that's pretty similar to this, but different enough. It's called The Directors, and the fun fact about it, it was inspired by the typography in Wes Anderson's movies. I love Wes Anderson, I've seen all of his movies, so I completely get it and I love it. I think that it has a little bit of a calligraphy aspect to it, like it was written with a quill. This is another font that has like a point of view. If you're looking for a specific vibe, you get it. You don't have to look for anything else. And then we have Interland. You might remember this font because I mentioned it in my latest design video. I really love this font. I'm saying this for literally every font, but you know, there's a reason why I chose them. This has so much like vintagey vibes, but also like kind of a Western vibe. I don't know. I always look for fonts like this because the 60s and 70s are my favorite decades in terms of design, style, fashion, and all of that. I draw a lot of inspiration from these decades, even though again, they don't really seem to match with my style. I don't really end up using them a lot, but sometimes I do. Let's move on to the last font. Okay, if you have seen that video that I was talking about, you might remember that the font that I ended up choosing was Cooper Nouveau, and I obviously had to mention it in this video. I'm in love with this font. I have feelings for this font. Oh my god, people must think the designers are insane. I have talked about this font so much in my video already, but if I have to say more, I think that this font is again 70s but also modern because it's so rounded, so fun, but it has those curves that make it a little bit more vintage. The uppercase letters, all of them are just incredible, and due to the fact that this font has these rounded edges, it's really easy to manipulate, so easy to make those connections that are already there. Yeah, this font just is a great base to really have fun with type manipulation. The only thing that I'm worried about is that I have looked for this font for a really long time because I saw people use it, but I didn't want to ask what font it was. I just wanted to find it and I couldn't, but one day I did, and now I'm seeing so many people use it, and I don't want it to become like an overused font. They kind of lose its coolness because it's such a great font, and I've seen fonts being overused and used in the wrong context, for wrong logos, for wrong brandings, just because it's cool to use, and I don't want this to happen with this font. I really want to gatekeep it, but I'm against gatekeeping in design, so I'm telling you about this font, but please use it carefully. Use it when it's appropriate to do that. Okay, so now I have to choose a winner, and it's pretty hard because two of my favorite fonts are in this category, but I literally said that Freytag represents me as a designer, so it has to be Freytag. Okay, I said that this was going to be the last category, but there's actually another one that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the best font of the year, which is not really that. If you follow me on Instagram, you might remember that a couple of weeks ago I asked you to tell me what your favorite font is. That font that makes you skip a heartbeat whenever you see it. You're like, oh my god, it's perfect, I love it. And I got a lot of answers. I had to choose only the most popular answer, and I got 5. Let's take a look at them and see if you agree. So the first font is Montserrat. I absolutely agree with this choice. I don't agree with all of them, let's just say that, but Montserrat is an incredible font. In its simplicity, it's incredible. It's probably my go-to font for a secondary font because it's easy to read, it has a lot of weight, it's perfect for longer text, for packaging, also because it's free. It's available on Google Fonts. I wouldn't really say that this is my favorite font, but it is to you guys. Next up we have Helvetica. Whoa, nobody's surprised. I made a little joke in my stories that nobody was mentioning it, but then I got a lot of real actual answers. I already talked about this in the video. I can't really say anything bad about Helvetica. I can say bad things about people that only use Helvetica, but that's a story for another day. Next up we have Futura. A lot of really iconic historical fonts. Futura is even older than that. It's almost been 100 years since this font was made, and still to this day it's again timeless, super modern, super used. I see it used all the time. It's not really my type of font. It's a little bit too geometrical, which again, it makes sense for the reason why it was made. It's a really iconic font, especially here in Italy. I oftentimes use another font that it's pretty much the alternative to it, which is called Leak Spartan. It's available for free on Google Fonts, and it's close enough, I would say, to use that instead of Futura. Okay, the next font generally makes me upset. The next font is Dido. I hate this font. I hate this font with everything that I have, with every bone in my body and more. I hate it. I think it's overused. I think it's boring, has zero personality, and the little personality that it has, I hate. I kind of used this, or maybe it was Bodoni, I don't remember, for my personal branding. Me using this font. And last but not least, we have another really popular font, which is Poppins. I love Poppins. I have to be honest, I love it. I see Poppins kind of as a sibling to Montserrat because they're pretty similar but different enough. Like, they can be used in different contexts. I love it because it's really wide and really fun. It has a little bit of personality, even if it's pretty simple. Again, it's super amazing for packaging. I'm using this in a client project right now. I love it for the same reason that I love Montserrat. This is also available for free on Google Fonts. And I have to come clean, you guys. I recently used this font in a logo. Of course, I added another font, but the base was this one, and I love this logo. It's one of my favorite logos that I made in a really long time. Okay, we have reviewed all the nominees for this category, but the winner is not up to me to choose because there was a clear winner. When everybody was writing their choices, there was one that was mentioned so many times, and I honestly was pretty surprised. The winner of best font is, drumroll please, Montserrat. Congrats to you, Montserrat. Alright, these were all the categories. I've had so much fun, honestly. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you want me to do more videos like this. I'm trying to make more chill videos, the types of video that I like to watch, so leave a like if this is also your thing. Of course, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, but also design videos and brand design videos. I do it all. I'm on all social media platforms, especially Instagram, so give me a follow there if you want to be included in one of my next videos. My community there is a really big part of this channel, so I would love for you to join. We have talked about fonts and how much I love type manipulation. So if you want to learn more on how I do it and what tools I use, then check out this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again in another video next week. Ciao!